People, it is Thursday. It's the drop. We're at Cactus Music World headquarters. It's everybody's favorite streaming half hour of music.
That is good to hear.
Yeah. At
I
least
keep running into people that are paying attention to it. It's just awesome.
Yeah, exactly right. Your wife, my wife.
Actually, I don't know if they're watching. They're just paying attention. They know that it exists.
What is up? All right, man. I'm Ruben. That's Quinn. All right, so let's get into it, man, because I'm excited about this one.
Yeah, let's talk about some good stuff. We have another in-store performance this weekend.
Oh, okay.
On Saturday the 28th, we have Say Girl Say that are here to perform. They have a record that came out in 2021, one of the few local releases that came out in 2021, and a terrific record. And for those that aren't familiar with them, it's like great harmonies. You got some ukulele business going on in there. Indie pop record, inflections of maybe some electronic type stuff. Very, very cool, very engaging. And so they'll be here on the Cactus stage early, the noon performance. And they're doing a show at the Heights Theater that night to benefit Girls Rock Camp. So
I have a dear friend who loves them and has been trying to get me to come see them for ever, and it's never worked out. So I've never seen them live, but I was very excited to see that they have a new record, and of course because they're hometown, and we love that.
Yeah, no doubt.
Looks good too. Nice little package, and yeah, I'm glad you put this one on the list.
Yeah, so you can see them at an intimate in-store performance at noon on Saturday, and then see them that night. And those Heights shows are a little. We can do that. Those Heights shows are a little earlier.
Do we have the same list?
I'm looking to see.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah.
Okay. So check that out. Check out Start Time, but go see that and support Girls Rock Camp. Great charity. It's going to be a fun show.
All right.
Our first big new release of the week would be a fourth album from Mr. Sam Smith, who's
peering over our shoulder.
Peering over our shoulder. He has a brand new record. This is his fourth one. It's called Gloria. Big hit was Unholy. Another hit. They always a couple of singles before the album finally drops. The great thing is, if you
could not get away from it.
Purchase the CD at Cactus, you get an autographed copy.
It's autographed.
Yeah, we got autographed copies of not that many. So if that is of interest to you, if you're a fan, you're going to want to get to the record store and pick one of those up before they're gone.
So I'm guessing the CD is out ahead of the vinyl?
No, I think it's day and date. I think the record is out at the same time.
Cool.
You know, Universal does this great thing where they will, as soon as they have the master, they will produce the record, and they won't schedule the release until the vinyl is ready, unless it's something like, a lot of hip hop artists, there's stuff tied to it, or pop artists that there's a bigger schedule at play, so they won't. But for him, I was surprised. Yeah, it's day and date.
Love it. Day and date, folks.
You get a little.
It's a sticker.
It's a sticker. It's not embossed.
I got super excited.
Some embossing,
super excited.
Yeah, anticipated record should be a good one. All right, this is a great record we can talk about. This is the Arcs. For those of you who don't know, this is Dan Auerbach from the Black Keys. This is his garage rock group, if you couldn't tell from the Dayglow art. And this is, this is their second album, and the first one since important key member of the band, Richard Swift, died. And Richard Swift was a record producer. He had a studio in Oregon, and played a role in a bunch of the bands from that area, such as the Shins and Built to Spill. And he was a key man in a bunch of artist careers, and he partnered with Dan Auerbach for this band, the Arcs. And first record was well received. It's not one of the swing for the fences kind of records like Black Keys, where there's a big marketing campaign. He loves garage rock.
Yeah,
music,
this is them doing what they want to do.
This is them doing what they want to do.
Absolutely.
And
I love records
last
like that.
Last record was terrific. I'm looking forward to hearing this one, and obviously a tribute to their beloved band member.
And I'm guessing this is their own label, right? Easy Eye.
Easy Eye is Dan Auerbach's label.
I don't know that one.
And he
cool picture of the band on the back too.
Yeah, and he, that's the label that all the artists he signs are on Easy Eye and produces. So there you go.
Sweet, nice.
Yeah,
black splatter vinyl, because I know you guys care.
Indie store black splatter
you guys
vinyl.
Want to know about this?
Mr. Butch Walker. This is his new album as Glenn. For those of you who don't know, he has had a really long, storied career.
It feels like he's been on a tear.
He has, and he was started off a hard rock band, South Gang.
Great guitar player.
Great guitar player.
Great guitar
and he was
player.
in this band, and that kind of, for whatever reason, kind of timed out after a couple of records. And he had the Marvelous Three, which were a great power pop, like Cheap Trick sounding band.
Absolutely.
Made 3 records that were great.
I forgot about that completely.
Yeah, and on Elektra, and then that kind of timed out or didn't click. And then
he started producing.
He started fixing songs. He started tons of co-writes. I mean,
yeah, this is the guy you call when it's like something's just not. You're in the studio with the band. They bring Butch Walker in, and boom.
And he tweaks your sound. And
can we call him a hit maker?
He's a hit. He's definitely a hit maker. And this is his 10th album. Again, I think probably known more as a producer than just but he always for a second I was like, why is Johnny Depp on the back of this? He does look like Johnny Depp. Should close up with that, please.
What the hell?
Yeah, that's crazy.
That's okay.
Johnny Depp is working with everybody, so why not?
He is. Why not? He's probably it's a cool. I love this. There's a great studio tour. Just go Butch Walker studio tour on YouTube, and if you just want to nerd out. He goes through the console. He goes through amps. He goes through guitars.
Is that recent?
He goes through microphones. Within the last year or two.
Okay, because the crazy story with him, his house in California with all of his master tapes with everything burned up in a wildfire. He lost his entire.
When did that happen?
It's a few years ago. It's been a couple records since then, I think.
Gosh, I can't answer
that
question.
He lives in Nashville now.
This is in Nashville. So this studio, so this is the new studio.
This is where the work is. I mean,
yeah. Of course, yeah.
Middle of the country. You're 2 hours away from each coast. It's where musicians live.
Nashville, Nashville is literally the music city right now.
It sure is. So that's a great record. Check him out. I know we talked about everything but the music there, but always excited.
It's going to be good. Doesn't matter. Trust me. Dude can write a song.
And man, I'm super excited about this record. I love her.
I do too.
Elle King, and man, I love the album title. Come Get Your Wife.
Yeah, baby. Yeah. That's fantastic.
And she is so good, man. She has such a big voice and uses it in the best possible way, not overstate. People know the X's and O's song. I mean, that's
yeah.
As first, I was telling one of our coworkers today that, as someone that listens to music pretty much all day, every day, sometimes I find it hard to reconcile big hit records and really kind of latch on to them. And I always like her records. I think they stick with me, and I don't get.
You mean if it's a really, really big song, you're like,
if it gets really ubiquitous after a while with it.
Yeah, I get it.
I can respect it for what it is, but I think all her singles are great.
Yeah.
And, I'm sure she'll be everywhere with this. A little bit of trivia. I think a lot of people know that she's Rob Schneider's daughter.
I didn't know that.
SNL, yeah.
I did not know that.
Yeah.
I had a wild conversation with Rob Schneider.
Did you? He seems like every conversation you might have with him would be wild.
Yeah, he was very interested in helping me make some adjustments in my life, and he was telling me how to do it.
Wow.
Yeah, he was.
Did you ask for that? Or you just
no,
put
it
that
just
out there.
No,
he was
a guest on the show, and we were sitting off camera and we just started talking, and then I was doing a segment. Was before his. He actually walked out on camera and just became part of the segment.
Oh wow.
He had a lot of energy that morning.
Well,
but it was very enjoyable. It was a very, very cool cat. But yeah, I did not know that.
Yeah,
I love the fact that she's just leaning on just a stone cold black Trans Am too.
Hell yeah!
Look at that.
Great album cover.
American Muscle, baby.
And and she said she took her mom's name because she didn't want to.
Sure.
People would figure out who it is, but she didn't want to lean in on that too much. Other trivia: she plays the banjo really well. I was flipping past the scene. I'm like, is that Elle King? It's like, she's playing banjo.
Picked up a banjo?
Yeah, I have it.
I think I have a better chance of learning oboe than I do.
I gifted my banjo to now Cactus employee because I'm not going to add banjo to the repertoire, but I had a banjo, and he was crazy about the banjo. I'm like, dude,
learn to play it.
That is all you.
God, that's
so okay, let's keep running.
Banjo players out there, much respect. Also,
absolutely.
Also, mandolin players.
I can kind of play.
I can fake it, but it's like
it's a violin tuning.
It's like a, like giving up harmonica to a caveman. You know,
It's-
I mean, I
it's-
could probably
it's
make
okay.
a sound with it, but you know.
You're trying too hard.
Yeah,
You just
maybe.
need to relax.
Really?
Yeah.
All right,
yeah.
here we go.
We were talking about them last week. Still Vanessa, new
Mhm.
record. This is out on the racks. We didn't want to talk about it last week because
We
it
didn't
was
have it.
late. It was late getting out everywhere. But this is a very anticipated record. We talked last week about how we really like them and they're such a cool duo and what they do is different from their respective bands. This is the Indie Store exclusive
No rules
version.
Sandy.
No Rules Sandy. I like the title. I don't know what that's about.
I don't know either. This is a limited edition indie exclusive Tiger's Eye vinyl.
Wow.
Love it. Yeah, it's cool, man. So Vanessa, if you don't know them, check them out. You might like them. You can go to sylvanesso.com or just, you know, the YouTubes.
They're one of those groups that if you checking them out, you'll realize you've heard their music.
Oh,
And
absolutely.
It's
Yeah,
been,
yeah,
it's
yeah.
it's synced
Yep.
for all kinds of stuff out there.
Yeah, really cool. Easy to get into.
Let's talk about Joe Henry. Joe Henry, terrific, probably better. Another guy like Butch Walker, better known as a producer,
Right.
Grammy Award-winning producer. Worked with Amy and Rodney Crowell and Solomon Burke and a lot of great, more kind of rootsier artists. But he makes terrific albums, and this is his latest kind of pandemic record.
I don't know that much about him at all.
So he
Kind of Americana. kind
yeah,
of-
he started off. His records were like his first couple of records were very kind of singer-songwriter, acoustic-y kind of records, and then man, he took this left turn where he started like doing tape loops and sampling like opera singers or
Wow.
whatever, and writing songs. He has this one.
Now
record,
I'm interested.
He has this one record called Trampoline that is probably one of my favorite records of that decade, and everything after that is from superb to exquisite.
Wow.
Yeah, he's
That's
terrific.
That's high praise from this dude. That is high praise. Joe Henry coming in hot. I love that.
Okay, and now let's get to the archival reissues,
Yes.
and so what these are records that this material has. It's not a reissue technically because this material has never been available and is now available, but it is from another era.
Okay.
And we're kicking it off with this. This is probably the best example of someone managing their archive of unreleased recordings so that other people don't do it for them. And that's Bob Dylan. He has this great series called the Bootleg Series. We're up to volume 17. And this is the latest version is the Time Out of Mind sessions, 1996 to
I
1997.
remember when that came out.
Yeah, really a pivotal record for him because he hadn't released a lot of new music and he had
Yeah.
writer's block, and then
Mhm.
man, he just found it, and that's one of his masterpiece records. And as you will find when studying a lot of artists, those masterpiece records come from a lot of work to filter and get to those songs
Yeah.
that you hear. So that's what this is. So you have 4 LPs of outtakes and alternate versions. Look at him with his headband on there tuning up. I'm very excited about this. That's one of my favorite eras of his recording career. And there's actually the CD. There's a 2 CD version that I think has all of this on it, and there's also a 4 or 6 disc deluxe box set, and those go out of print pretty quickly. Again, that's we talk about where on the show sometimes where the CD really wins, and when the CD wins is when you have this much content, because
Right.
you can't get it all on on LPs, and really for the book and all that. Sometimes that big box set works good on.
So I'll tell you, for $100, that's a lot of content.
It's a lot of content.
That's a lot of
It's a
content.
lot of content. And a couple of these bootleg series that I've listened to, sometimes the alternate versions, like how did he pick that version he put on the
Right.
record? Because the
Yeah,
alternate
yeah.
version is like the winner, but for some reason he always works really quickly. Like did a record, pick the tracks, done, on tour, and on to the next thing. He doesn't overthink anything, never has, and that's why these collections are so rewarding.
Yeah, while they're important.
Okay, another one that hasn't been available.
Oh man.
Marvin Gaye, one of the great soul singers of the 20th century. Greatest
I've
hits
never
live
seen
in,
that album.
Live in '76. It hasn't been out there. And so
I've heard, I know, of course, you know all the music, but I mean, I've never seen it.
yeah, and this is cool. This is from him working with after he had I believe signed to. This predates him signing to Sony and having or CBS and having Sexual Healing and those later records. But this is what's going on. Let's get it on. All the hits on there. Probably.
And do I have this wrong? he was not super fond of performing
I don't really know.
live. Am I right about that, or am I
I
thinking
don't know.
about somebody else? Okay, whatever. Who knows? Anyway, so like you mentioned, European tour 1976 in Amsterdam. Yeah,
Check it
this
out. He's
is
got
cool.
like his powder blue leisure
Of
suit.
course, man.
So that says 76
Just
right there.
boss.
He
Just
was either going to a prom or going to play a show that night.
Yeah, I'm guessing he could have done both, and people would have been like, "Hell yeah, you're Marvin Gaye." And see, we just mentioned just whatever. I don't know why I'm talking about prices today. You know, $21, you get this incredible piece of music history on vinyl, and then you get the Dylan thing for $100, which is like a shopping cart full
Yeah,
of
it's a lot of stuff.
Yeah,
Well, speaking of shopping carts, because now we're
I feel
going to
like I'm
feature.
selling used cars.
Now we're going to feature literally the largest item we have ever featured. I mean, we've had some big stuff on the drop.
I've carried a lot of that load, of that weight.
This is, I don't even know.
Oh my God.
This is all of the early Rolling Stones albums in mono, 16 LPs in a giant box set on colored vinyl. So
I'm going to have to stand up for this because I don't want to hurt my back. All right, keep talking.
So there had been a black vinyl edition of this that was released in limited release in Europe and the US, and man, it sold out in like a matter of days.
Look at this.
And is now in the secondary sellers market for huge money. For those that don't know,
You don't need a home gym.
Mono predated stereo, and you know that's how all your faves British invasion bands, that's all their albums were originally recorded in mono, and generally that was the artist's approved master, and stereo versions came later, sometimes without approval of the artist, just in the rush to get stuff out. So for the Stones, Beatles, a lot of Kinks, a lot of other artists,
David Frick approved.
it's David Frick approved. And you know, that is their preferred, that's how they want you.
No. Okay, yeah, because I don't want to like put a little bend in it or anything. You know, I mean, you have to sell that thing.
And you know what? Anybody that buys this, that's exactly what they're going to do. They're going to be,
where does it go? Yeah, you'll have to put your couch out on the front lawn if you want to include this in your collection.
Yeah. So,
God.
and that's available. Every record's a different color. And I'll tell you why they did that. They didn't want to annoy the people. I mean, I think it was an oops moment. They didn't make enough of the black vinyl one, and they're like, okay, we can do this again, but we can't make all the people about the black vinyl one mad. So
right,
lots of colors.
Yeah, right.
Lots of colors. Okay, the reissue train is rolling on down the track. This is a lot. Okay, that was the heavy lifting.
Yes.
Now we can lighten our load.
Yes.
This is Thick as Brick. This is the 50th anniversary.
Not as thick as the Rolling Stones.
Not at all. Still black and white.
Yeah.
None more black. For fans that don't know, this record contains one song, Thick as a Brick. This is like, as far as prog rock concept albums, this is the toppermost, something like that. Anyways,
it's one of the most important albums of the genre, or songs of the genre.
Yeah,
right?
For sure. And so and they actually had a hit with an edited version of it. But and other things to know about this record, it was originally as an LP when it came out. It was packaged as a newspaper, like it was this big newspaper that you would fold out to get to the LP, and you'd read about. They had all these fake stories that tied to the concept of the album, as well as, you know, band information, recording information.
How very proggy.
Yeah, how very proggy indeed. And this features, I believe this was done by Stephen Wilson. He has remastered pretty much their whole catalog. He's a huge fan. But and you get a, I think, DVD audio, which as well as other bonus content on there.
There's tons of stuff on here.
Tons of stuff. And so the cool thing is they've done every record by them in this format. So you can buy this one and it'll fit cozy on the shelf next to all the other ones from the previous
nice
album.
and symmetrical, which I like.
And these go out of print quickly too. So if you're a fan, you're thinking about picking it up, that is something to grab, because once they're gone, some of those sell for hundreds of copies.
I went back and listened to, like, I had a Jethro Tull thing that happened not too long ago, and I went back and listened to Jethro Tull. Mm-hmm. Like songs that I didn't, because I was even as a kid, when I buy my own albums and play them, there were some albums that I could get through the entire thing and play them over and over and over and over, never get tired. There were some albums that I would buy just because I liked that one song.
Sure.
And I would only listen to that one or two songs. And Tull was like that for me until I went back.
The earlier stuff is heavy. I mean, I think people associate them as being kind of fluid, but they're heavy.
It's so cool. You have to be in the mood for it, but it is
Yeah, it's
interesting.
very sophisticated.
It's interesting.
Very sophisticated.
It's interesting stuff.
Hey, this is kind of in. And we did cross over to the reissue program. We left the archives, rolled right into the reissue.
Here we go.
That was Stones and Jethro Tull, and to follow up with Ella. This is like the very much like the Marvin Gaye piece. This is Ella live in Montreux, 1969. This is her debut appearance at the Montreux Jazz Festival, which I think she was there quite a bit after that. And backed by the Tommy Flanagan Trio. I mean, I just love her voice. I'll be going all the way back. I think I've talked about this before in the drop, but going, I mean, always liked it, but the track that got in there was after kids. We had some kids jazz compilation, and it had a couple of tracks from her singing like kid songs.
Yeah,
and it
blew your mind.
It wasn't like an earworm or something, but it was like I would find myself singing those songs. Like she's just like a little bird singing the way she would just pick out the notes. Totally great. Awesome. And anytime you can find unreleased recordings of quality from an artist of her stature, that's what you
available on LP for the first time.
There you go. Okay, and this is this. I love that. This is the great thing about the drop. We get to talk about stuff that no one else is going to talk about.
Absolutely, 100%.
This is right here, 100. And this is Pelican, their third album, City of Echoes.
Cool band.
Very cool band, and a band that truly just defies description.
A little proggy in their own right, maybe. Just
there's
kind
some
of
that. I know you're a metal guy. Do you notice this, that they throw everything that they can't describe in the post-metal bucket? Like, oh, that's post-metal.
It's post-metal, yeah. Well, there's so many metal classifications, but this is super interesting stuff. How many albums? They've been at this for a while. I mean,
there's 5 or 6.
There's like 5 or 6
records. Yeah. But this is one of the big ones. Hasn't been on LP in a long time.
Translucent Blue.
Yeah. So their label Thrill Jockey's been putting them out in different colors. And
it's hard to describe.
I know.
This music is hard to describe.
There's a little bit of. It's funny. I'm thinking about terms in my mind. And they're like, no, it's not that.
No, it's not that.
It's not that. You just
check
it out. It's heavy.
Yeah, it's heavy. There's a lot of variety. There's a lot of great playing, and there's a lot. I don't know, like maybe, like if Zappa was working today or something. I don't know. I can't.
He would want. I tell you what, if he was alive, he would want to work with them.
Yeah, exactly.
Because great musicianship in very
a
lot of influences.
Transcends everything. Yeah, it's cool. It's cool. Looks good too.
Looks good. None more black. None more black. All right, indie store exclusives, and these are some more reissues. We've never discussed this record, and I'm curious.
Oh my god, I love this record.
Okay.
Oh my god, I love this record.
So this is Masters
I had it on
of Reality.
cassette.
Yeah, me too.
Oh my god. This is a banger.
This is a banger. This Masters of Reality. This is one of the early Rick Rubin productions. This record was on Deaf American. It's
incredible.
Heavy. And at the time, this is coming out of the hairband era when everything was like really all about Craig
and this wasn't
Jackson guitars. This was not that.
No.
This Chris Goss guy is credited with starting the whole what do they call it, the desert rock thing?
Yeah.
All those bands that recorded out in Joshua Tree.
Out in the middle of nowhere, yeah.
And that's Caius. That's Queens of the Stone Age.
Sure.
That's the real heavy I don't want to say droney, but doomy heavy stuff. But I mean, this brought it all back. First of all, the name.
Dude.
You should connect with the name. You're like, what are those guys about? And then when I actually heard it, this is the only record I bought that year that sounded anything like it.
The riff is great, but the sound on Kill the King.
Yeah.
You
got some air guitar going on the drop here, people.
Oh my god. And it's beautiful looking. I've only seen it on a little cassette. The artwork's fantastic.
So I think
it sounds like that.
I think there's some
right.
Yeah, absolutely. You're in the graveyard. And who's this guy? Got a little like gnome or something hanging out.
Yeah, just chilling.
Elfin.
Oh,
there you go.
My god.
So
I love this.
Yeah, and I don't know what kind of legal situation, but the two guys that they bought out their contract with Rick Rubin and Deaf American to put it on Delicious Vinyl.
Yeah, because the second record doesn't sound anything like this.
Doesn't really.
The white one with the rabbit on the bicycle.
I think that might be like the third record. And the drummer in that record is Ginger Baker from Cream.
I knew that.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. I knew that. Yeah.
I like that record really
they talk about that in that documentary in the Beware of Mr. Baker or whatever.
That's a good rock.
Is that what it is? That's what it's called, right? That's a great documentary. Oh my God.
It's the only documentary I think of where the subject of the documentary ends up physically harming the documentary filmmaker.
Right.
The film.
Yeah.
Just
Yeah.
pops him with a cane, breaks his nose.
Yeah, I feel like Ginger Baker and like Jerry Lee Lewis should have been making music together because those two.
Not a studio that can hold those guys.
No, man. Gunshot wounds,
No doubt.
assault and battery.
So
Perfect.
we
I'm sorry.
can endorse the Masters of Reality.
I'm telling you, go get it. You're gonna love it.
Yeah. And again, and I haven't had that since on cassette. I don't think I ever had a CD of it. Great record.
Yeah.
Check it out. Okay. From the bringing it back from the edge of oblivion of a record that we both loved decades ago to a record that like nobody knows but is awesome. This is a song of the Gypsy by an artist called Damon, and the Now Again nobody does. He kind of looks a little bit like by Prince, huh? Looks a little Prince-like on there.
Yeah, a little bit of Prince. Yeah.
So this is a sought after like psychedelic rock record that had been bootlegged many times. You couldn't get a good copy of it, and then the venerated Now Again label, Egon, is giving it. He got a hold of the masters and restored it, and I guess there was some transfer wasn't right, but now it is available as the artist would have wanted to hear it, and this is a very, very cool record.
Originally recorded when? I mean, what time period?
This
are we
is
talking? Early 70s?
Yeah. But yeah, cool record.
I'm very curious about this. Super curious about
and you
this.
do have so there's a lot of what you might call dead art records that were self-financed that came out and just sunk without a trace, disappeared.
Yeah.
And it is just a wee little silver lining around the edges that are brilliant records. That there's a couple from Houston actually that never found an audience, sank without a trace, and maybe made 300 or 500 copies of it. That's what this is.
Wow.
It's so fun to see that stuff come back and find an audience.
Cool. Good choice.
All right.
You learn stuff here on the
You're learning stuff. You love it. Our last CD store exclusive. This is the third B-52's record, Whammy, and this was the last record to feature
original
Ricky.
lineup, yeah.
The original lineup with Ricky on guitar. He does make an appearance on the follow-up, the Bouncing Off Satellites, but he had already passed. But this record, when it came out, it wasn't as well received as the others because they were working with drum machines, and it was a little more.
They didn't have like a really clear hit on this one, I guess.
Legal Tender, Butterbean. I don't remember like
Song for a Future Generation.
Yeah. I mean, it's a cool record. It's probably kind of their difficult record was their third for a lot of bands. It's the second record, but still, in listening to this online before doing the drop, I was like, oh man, I remember this record. It's a great record.
Yeah. Limited edition splatter vinyl.
And one of the bands that are in a category all by themselves, right?
Yeah.
And guitar too, like that.
Oh,
we were talking about,
yeah.
Ricky didn't tune. He didn't have any instructions, so he just tuned the guitar how it sounded good to him, and that's why that's why the guitar sounds so weird. And when you go see a band play the songs, it doesn't really sound right.
No.
Yeah.
That's God, I love that. That's fantastic. Yeah. Well, I mean, nobody was a musician when they started the band.
Right. Nobody.
They got it was about the look and creating the performance, right?
Yeah.
There was
and those two harmonies, man.
Yeah, and I think that was like Fred Schneider's idea, right? Wasn't it the whole concept, look of the band, whatever?
Gotta love them. And that's a start your year off right series too from Rhino Records.
Love that.
We always have a few Blue Note. We often have a few Blue Note reissues.
You're gonna get some jazz.
People are saying hello.
Hey, Astoria.
Astoria loves.
She loves Whammy. Hell yeah, she loves Whammy. Who doesn't love Whammy?
So good.
So good.
So good.
I love that. Thank you for that. Hey, Anastasia. Look at this. Everybody's joining in. This is fantastic.
I like it, Maria.
Hello. Maria? Is that Maria? Hey, what's up, Maria? All right.
So, and these are two really great Blue Note records that have been sought after, that people have been looking for. This is the great Bobby Hutcherson. He's a vibraphonist, and he partners with.
We don't talk vibes that often on this show.
Really
we should do more vibes.
And Joe Sample is on this record.
Houston's own.
Williams, Houston's own. And so he partnered with Harold Land, playing tenor sax and flute on this record. And this is one of those records that has been reissued that many times. It is super cool because it has like really groovy stuff on it, but then also has like very exploratory kind of out there stuff as well. So like A Night in Barcelona is one of those tracks. So this is one of those records when it got reissued, people are like, when's that record coming?
And it's here.
They were looking for a good copy
Nice.
of it. So
there it
so
is.
there you go. There it is. And we often feature Grant Green, one of the great guitar. Not enough
Not
can be
enough.
said about.
Not enough.
And I think a lot of great jazz guitarists kind of just do the same thing over and over. That is
Sure.
not what Grant Green did. And this is record from, I believe, 1970. And it's very jazz funk. There's a lot of covers on there. He does a Day in the Life, which I have not heard. I need to hear that. Ain't It Funky Now by James Brown. I'll Never Fall in Love Again by Burt Bacharach. So there's covers on there, but it's all, he's really blowing in the breeze of like the soul jazz, real groovy kind of funky stuff. So, and again, I don't think I've seen an original copy of that record ever. So it's
Put
cool
some jazz
that it's
in your
been
life, people.
reissued. Yeah,
Jazz in
no
your
doubt.
life.
Now we're at the vinyl vault part. Hey, studio audience.
How are you? Good to see you,
Hello.
man.
And next up, we have our vinyl vault.
So Vinyl Vault. Last week you had a wonderful pick. It was the Kashmir Stage Band.
Yeah, Houston, Texas.
From
baby.
Houston, Texas. So we're gonna start doing this, I guess, every show now. A little Vinyl Vault.
Yeah, maybe.
So this is super duper like special record for me. So it's Captain Fantastic and the Frontier Cowboy. And we were talking. They don't really make an albums. This was kind of special because you got the whole.
You got a gatefold.
You got a gatefold, right?
Not enough.
And it had a little booklet that came with it.
Everything's in there.
Everything
here.
Is whoa! I still have mine. So tell everybody what we're looking at. Just break that down for everybody.
It became like you started seeing like Chicago would always have a poster in their
right.
record. And Elton started having some stuff in his records, but nobody, I don't think it ever did anything like that.
I haven't seen this in so long.
So that is a booklet called Scraps, and it's like photos from the tour and like journal stuff. And there's even a cartoon on the comic page on the back, and it's just basically a tour diary from the band. And it looks like something a concert program you would buy at the show. Like there's that much stuff there, right?
This is nuts.
And then you've got this. This is all the lyrics from the album along with photos. Look at the young Elton John when he was original
Bluesology, when he was in
Bluesology. There you
Bluesology.
go.
Yes, sir.
And so you get this with all the lyrics in there, and along with a bunch of super cool illustrations.
That's amazing. Yeah, and the lyrics for me are some of the best that like Bernie ever wrote. This was just such a moment. This album, everything, all the songs it's not a concept album, but I think everything on there kind of fit.
Yeah.
Oh, it's an almost concept album, I think.
I mean, they're working within like a frame without being a slave to the concept. Right?
Sure.
And so this is a real zenith for him, like commercially. Right?
Yeah.
In the debut, right?
Yes. 100. Yes, of course.
It's the first ever #1 debut on the Billboard. I think it sold like 1.5 million records in
1975,
like
right?
3 or 4 days.
And of course, it's an incredible band, and most of these guys were with him like for most of the most important period of Elton, right? So you've got Dave Murray on guitar. Was he bass? He was bass. David Johnstone was bass. I can't remember. I'm getting them confused.
The great
Nigel Olsson, Ray Cooper. I don't know that Ray was on too many albums, but yeah.
The kooky thing about that band is they played with them through the glory years, and then they would all come back at some point because too good of a gig.
Right.
Too good of a gig.
Yeah. So Davey's still with him, I think, or was the last to be with. What a great guitar player. So the songs are incredible here. I think the hit, obviously, Someone Saved My Life Tonight. That's the thing that just was, you couldn't get away from it on radio. Nope. And it's just I don't know. It just, in my mind, it sets this mood. It's ridiculous. It just transports me immediately to that place. It's just, I love this album so much. I can't tell you. Thanks for finding a copy
album
of it,
art with so it's hard to find the lyric insert. It's hard to find the scraps insert. They do come in.
Yeah.
It's damn near impossible.
I don't even have that one. I think that was on my wall.
Poster.
I think I taped it to my wall when I bought it, like 11-year-old me.
Dude, this is your parting gift from the drop for today. And
so cool.
I read about this. I did not find info about this online because I really wanted to know. I know that it was a big deal back in the 70s. Nobody even thought about it to have a custom label. Like your records had whatever the label was, and this one has
a custom label,
custom Captain Fantastic label. I kind of can't roll that. So And I can't remember if anybody had that. Holler at us and let us know. I'm sure that somebody had it beforehand, but this is easily the most high profile.
Yes.
Your own
Artist.
custom label for the
so it
record.
doesn't say like Casablanca or any of those other 70s kind of labels that were
for that record. And
so in the artwork, this is one of those where I stared at this for a million years. Staring at this little teeny tiny thing, but it's very if you're familiar with like the really famous painting by Hieronymus Bosch of
and that's what
it's very
it's
much
inspired by.
It's very much
pulling everything in on it.
Yeah, cool, man. There you go. If you haven't heard it,
essential listening. If you think you haven't heard it, you probably have.
You need to go listen to it. Go
again.
listen to it. You're gonna love it. Tower of Babel, man, what a great song. Astoria says, "Oh, wow, nice. She's liking that. Cool. All right.
Sweet.
So, let's see. Upcoming shows.
You were telling me Built to Spill.
Built to Spill is coming in a couple of months. Visiting us here. We're very excited about View Farcatori.
Yes.
Making a stop at last concert. So we said last concert. I think it's April 27th. Double check that.
I'm in for that. I've been wanting to see a show there since I kind of relaunched.
And you mentioned an in-store here at Cactus Music on Saturday, right?
Yeah.
Tell everybody what's that like. What that is like if they've never been here for that experience.
It is. You get to see an intimate performance by
on
some
stage,
on
right
the stage
back there.
here in the store.
Yep.
That is probably different from what you would see if you went to the gig that night. We'll serve you some cool, refreshing St. Arnold beverages. And you know what? If you're super moved by it, you can hang out right in front. There's always spots for the kids. You can be as good as you want, or you can just
hang out back here,
wander around the store and talk to your friends.
I love it. Yeah, I've seen the in-store magic myself, and you guys need to come on down and check it out. What does it cost? So I was going to ask you this.
Free.
Is it free? Yeah, it's free. That's what I love. I love that. Saturday, come on down. And support some local cats that have a new album, and we want all the best for our local talent.
Yeah, and that are working hard out there. We need to give it up for people that
Say girl say,
putting it on the line and making some music and pressing up on records.
All right, so from myself, from Quinn and Sam,
and another one last bit of trivia.
I get to take the poster
about Sam.
Yeah.
He's not wearing pants.
He's not wearing pants, people. He's still it's still 2020. It's still COVID from him. He still thinks that the world is a Zoom call. All right, we'll see you next week. Have a good time. Have a great weekend. Stay safe. Peace.